G'day, this is George and welcome to my 16th of April 2026 edition of Message of Hope. Alrighty, as it seems until recently I had no idea who Perez Hilton was. I knew Perez Hilton, most people do, and for an embarrassingly long time I assumed the two were related. They are not, so you can say, George, you're wrong. It turns out that Perez Hilton is a celebrity gossip blogger. He built a career tearing people down. Celebrities, public figures, no one escapes. And it's reported apparently, if you associated yourself with God, that was fair game to him. Fast forward to today, then came 21 days in hospital, and Perez emerged saying God had appeared to him. Okay, let's keep listening. It was a full turnaround. Those were his words. Now, being George, as he always does, I want to be careful here because I genuinely want to be true. What he said, that he followed God. Now, I'm not rooting against the man. Sorry, a bit of a renovation going on around the street. But I'm a person who needs details before forming an opinion. And what I've heard so far has been, I think it's vague. And vague doesn't do it for me. So, lacking details. Here is what would do it for me though. It's not complicated and it does not require a press conference. Alright? Now what I'm saying is based on Bible, so it's scriptural, you can look it up. And what I'm saying, okay, is it's not complicated, it doesn't require a press release. Okay? I need to hear someone say, I am a sinner, I've asked God for forgiveness, and I'm turning away from that and following Jesus. That will do for me. So far, I have not heard that from Perez yet. Mainly because, I don't know. No, I can't say. He says Catholic, but we know Catholic has some false beliefs. I'll talk about that in another video in the future. And because Christianity is specific, I needed to hear that. Christianity does not merely claim that something spiritual occurred. It proclaims that Jesus is God. There is one path, not 100 interpretations of one experience. And I genuinely hope Perez walks through that specific door. Because if he does, his whole story is worth a great deal, 100%. Until then, I'm holding the question open. So I'm not forming an opinion. And that open question led me somewhere where I did not expect. You see, because here is what Perez Hilton did for a living. He gathered information about people, passed it on, shaped what others thought about them, tore it down, occasionally built up. He made sure you knew what he had heard, whether you needed to know or not. Now that's not a career most of us have, thank goodness. But the impulse behind it, let's think about this. I think most of us, if we're honest, we have a complicated relationship with that impulse. There is something in us that leans in when we hear something about someone else, true or not. Something that finds a story about another person's failure that's quietly satisfying. Something that almost feels responsible about sharing concerning information because it isn't just being honest. Aren't we just raising a legitimate issue, you might ask? Well, I've been in that position more than once. I once read a post said to be inspired by the ancient Greek philosopher Socrates. Maybe this will help you, yeah? Now, whether the attribution is historically accurate, I genuinely don't know. But the wisdom in it is honest enough for me to share. I like it. So, here it goes. Someone approaches Socrates wanting to tell him something about a friend. Socrates stops him before a single word is spoken. 3 filters, he says. The first, is it true? Is it true, not rumors? Not possible? Is it confirmed by the person confirmed by you personally. Second filter, is it kind? Is what you're about to say genuinely good for some people? Does it hurt them? And the third, is it useful? Now, does my knowing this serve any real purpose at all? That's a really good question, huh? So the man in the story had nothing to offer on any count. So the information wasn't confirmed, wasn't kind, and there was no reason for Socrates to have it. This is what Socrates believed in. Socrates simply declined to receive it. Now, this kind of honest, practical thinking about how faith intersects with daily life, it's hitting you on the spot. This channel posts daily, so I encourage you, go ahead and subscribe right now and don't miss my episodes. Now, before we go any further, have a listen to what James writes. This is from chapter 3, verses 5 to 6. So also the tongue is a small member, yet it boasts of great things. How great a forest is set ablaze by such a small fire. And the tongue is a fire, a well of unrighteousness. The tongue is set among our members, staining the whole body, setting on fire the entire course of life, and set on fire by how? Wow, that's quite a that's quite a comment from James. Let me repeat it again: a small fire, a great forest. I think you know what he's trying to say. Socrates understood this much. So the spark needs to be controlled before it spreads. But Socrates is protecting the listener. James is talking about something else entirely. James is talking about what it does to the speaker. The tongue stains the whole body. Yeah, it sure does. It sets on fire the entire course of life. So you're going to be very careful about the tongue. The damage is not only to the person being gossiped about, oh no, or to relationships being undermined behind closed doors. It is to the person who spreads it. Gossip doesn't only burn its subjects, it slowly corrodes the one who carries it. It's a quiet burn that nobody notices until the damage is already done. And I almost found out in Singapore. Let me talk about this. Well, I was working at an engineering firm there, and I got along well with people across a lot of departments. You can say I'm a social butterfly. Nothing like Perez Hilton, of course. Yeah, different departments, different floors, different roles. I just happened to click with people easily in that workplace. And that's a blessing from God, I see. Well, one day the CEO's secretary, I'm not going to give names, pulled me aside quietly, carefully, with what looked like genuine concern on her face. I definitely remember that day. She asked whether a particular colleague of mine was mistreating me. Yeah. And she made it clear she would be more than happy to raise it directly with the CEO, because after all, she sees him every day, right? She answers to him. Now, I should be fair about this colleague. He had what you might charitably call a chip on his shoulder. Do you have one of those in your office? Or in your family, perhaps? Now, he would smoke in the office. Well, it was allowed to in those days, wasn't it? In the 90s in Singapore. And he would regularly complain that he would earn better pay back in his home country. Oh boy, went on and on. He had pointed opinions about my manager's engineering competence, or sometimes you say incompetent. He was not the easiest man to share a floor with. But, to be fair, mistreating me? No, I think it's a genuine no in this case. I had a sense what had fed the secretary's concern. He was visibly annoyed and not remotely subtle about it. That I seemed to get along well with others. I think he had a bit of jealousy in him. He was particularly annoyed, I think, when I was asked to be the master of ceremonies for the company launch. It was an event to be launching a new vessel that we built. The CEO had chosen me for that role. I didn't ask for it. It was a public moment, it was visible, and it stung him. I could see it. But here's the question I kept turning over. Would it be a Christian thing to do to add fuel to that fire? Yeah, to confirm the secretary's concern, or let it grow, or allow it to become a formal complaint sitting on the CEO's desk? Well, I'm not in that camp. I had not spoken to this man one-on-one about it. I had not tried to address anything directly, especially when you just keep smoking, right? I just want to don't hang around that environment. And I was not about to let someone else's impression form from who knows where, carry from who knows whom, become the basis for a conversation that could damage this livelihood, right? Again, back to Socrates, three filters: not confirmed, not kind, and not useful. I think that's what I applied in those days. So I said no, there is nothing to raise. And you know what, looking back, surely God watches over me. I did not need to protect my position by taking aim at someone else's. No siree. Now here's where I come back to Perez Hilton. Not to judge him, that's entirely between him and God. That's his position. But I noticed something in myself as I sit here with this story. It's a temptation to pass a verdict on incomplete information, to share what I suspect, to carry the spark and find somewhere useful for it to land. In other words, to do exactly what I have spent this entire conversation warning you about. Friends, before the next thing you say about someone, hold it to the three filters. Is it true? Not possible? Not plausible? And can you confirm it? Is it kind? Are you genuinely trying to help, or are you dressing criticism up as concern? And lastly, the last word, is it useful? Does the person you're about to tell actually need to know this? I wonder. Now, if the answer to all three is no, then this is what James is asking you to see. You're not just carrying information, you are carrying a fire. Fire that will set ablaze a forest. You may think you're holding it carefully, you may believe it is contained, but a small fire is dangerous to a great forest. And that's how quickly it moves. This is how long it burns. That is how little of yourself is left standing when it is done. What would be a sad story that would be, hey? I still hope to hear Perez Hilton say the specific thing I'm waiting for. I hope he says it plainly and without ambiguity. That Jesus is God. That he has turned from his old life and is following him. I really hope he says that, for the benefit for a lot of people too. But whether he does or doesn't, the tongue I'm responsible for is mine. And the forest near to me is the one I've been slowly walking through for the years. It's built from relationships, from trust, from the kind of quiet reputation that God alone can grant, and gossip can reduce that to ash in one single afternoon, very quickly. So my friends, my question to you, what are you carrying today that wouldn't survive the three filters? Let me know in the comments. May not be you, maybe someone else. I'll see you on the next video. Take care. Enjoy your day. Bye bye.